Her Opinion Show, the podcast you didn't know you needed. Real talk, bold truth, her voice, her vision, her rules. Let's get into it.
Welcome to Her Opinion. Today is kind of special because it's something that I love and is dear to my heart. But we're talking sports and entertainment. And today I have with me Lydia Davies. So Lydia, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Davies?
Yeah,
okay.
you did. Yeah.
Because sometimes I get it all wrong. I try. But I just love everything you're doing. And I wanted to have you on today because I want to talk about it. I wanted other women to know. We kind of talked about this earlier, and I was looking for something like this. I needed something like this. It is important to my heart, and I want other people to know. So just to so they know what the heck I'm talking about, let's break it down. So first of all, tell me your background.
Yeah, so I'm what we call a third culture kid. I grew up overseas. I'm from the UK originally. And I used to really be into science. And I did a lot of sports in school. And then all of a sudden when I was like 15, I was like, I want to be a pop singer. And it was like, hey, I know, it was this random shift from like marine biologist, soccer player.
UK and the Spice Girls, right?
Yeah, well, I was actually in Singapore at the time. But
listen,
the Spice Girls were big there.
Singapore has a lot of singers too.
Yeah,
that's like K-pop and stuff like that or whatever. Okay.
It's true.
China,
so,
I don't know.
I made an EP in Singapore. And then I went to the UK and got my first management deal as a teenager.
Wow.
Had no idea what I was doing whatsoever, was surrounded by men all the time, agents, managers, writers, producers.
What kind of music was it?
It was like rock pop when I started. Okay. And I've been writing songs for years just for fun. So I had like this back catalog of it. And so I went straight into that industry. I was also at university in England as well, playing soccer. And I was kind of doing like a bit of both worlds with no mentorship and no support. And I found myself, this went on for like quite some time. I moved to LA after college. I was singing there. I was with a record label there. Moved back to Europe, was with another record label there. And it was a lot of like back and forth. And during all this time, like I had no one really tell me like what I should and shouldn't be signing and what was and what was not okay in the studio. Like you just go in and you're like, a producer says go and you're like, okay, great, let's do this. So I think I felt really lost and I ended up feeling really depressed, I guess you could say. The last record label I was with kind of tried to turn me into like another Britney Spears kind of like, blonde, pure electro pop kind of thing. And I was just I remember the last time I performed on stage in London, I was there and I was like, I was 28, I think. And I was standing there and I was like numb. And I was like, this is not me. I've got these two dancers on the side of me. I used to perform with a rock band. I was wearing clothes that were not really at my comfort level.
Yeah.
And I was performing this song that I had written for somebody else. And I just stood there and I was like, and I'm done.
This is not for me.
No. And I quit and I walked away from it. And
how old were you?
I was about 28, 29 at that time. And I just walked away and dove into entrepreneurial stuff because that's like, being an artist, you are an entrepreneur creating your brand. And I had my own little record label at the beginning. So I kind of just moved into that space.
You fit a lot of women. You know that, right? You fit a lot of what women go through. We're in this space and then we feel like I don't fit. This isn't for me. They've got me in a box and I need to break out.
Yes.
And then you find yourself all of a sudden and you're like, this totally makes sense. And the reason why I'm saying that is because last week we had a numerologist on.
Oh, love it.
And she was breaking down our life path number and who we were and why we are what we are. And she sounds like a 3. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
We'd have to add your birthday up.
A 3.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
A creator. You're creative.
Yes.
You have to create. You have to be, you can't be like boxed in and someone can't tell you like this is what you're supposed to do and stuff like that. So I love that, your journey. And then.
And that pressure that you should know what you need to do at a younger age, but yet you found out, hey, this is not what I want to do.
And no mentorship because like that's crucial.
That's important.
Like you said, like if it's not an attorney or somebody who's just saying, oh, these contracts are no good or whatever, it's just someone who's been through it and says, don't do it because you'll hate yourself afterwards, right?
Yes.
And it's I'm pretty sure you were very lonely because as an artist.
Lonely. And there was no network in the in the entertainment community at that time. It was like everyone's just out for themselves. And if you get screwed over, you get screwed over and too bad. Like there was not, there's not much care, and it's still to this day in the entertainment industry. It's rough.
Yeah. No Diddy.
Harsh industry.
It's scary. It's scary. Like even me as a mom of a son who's grown and, talks about hip hop and, rappers, and I'm like, hell no.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I grew up. No, I'm a 90s baby. We ain't doing that. But yeah, and then so it obviously that you said that didn't work out, and so it led you obviously to where you're at now. But you did have sports in your background, I read, and so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was a very avid athlete in school and high school, captains of the teams, all that stuff. Played soccer in college. I've just always been obsessed with sports, and I never wanted to do anything pro because I enjoyed it. It was a fun outlet for me. But I still to this day play multiple sports. And I knew a lot of athletes in all different spaces. And I kind of just saw on my journey that we felt the same loneliness.
Right.
Like, the runner over there traveling to different meets by herself and maybe has a bit of a momager and just pushed and pushed and pushed into this world that was so male dominated that you were barely seen. It's like you're reaching up to like the surface of the water and all you can see is like, it's like I say it looks like the alligator leg. That's all they can see. And then you're shoved back down.
Yeah.
And I just saw such parallels. And I started a couple communities when I lived overseas after the music experience. I lived overseas with my late husband in the Middle East. And I started like a little community of golfers for women. And I still saw that sports brought everyone together.
Yes.
Because moving from school to school, I moved every 2 years when I was a kid across the world and across the countries and whatnot. And I would always go straight to the sports teams because I was like, that's where I will meet.
That's where
people.
I belong. That's my tribe.
That's where my
They're going to accept me.
Yeah. And
well, you're not lonely. You're a team.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's hard. And you only know what you know, right? And like we talked about that. It's like going to different women's things. I don't always fit in. I don't sometimes want to dress up and want to show up in the suit or whatever.
I never want to dress up.
Yeah. And when I do, like we're going to be going to an event and like, now I got to go look for
we got to go
dress.
find an outfit.
It's so stressful. I feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and now I got to talk corporate America talk, and I mean, I don't really relate to that. And this has always been my thing. So, like I said, this is like everything now to see things like this come about because, we were crying for this for a long time, or we didn't even know we needed it.
Yes,
we didn't know we needed it, and I think it's so perfect. And I'm so excited for what you have coming because obviously all this led you to start
Osprey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us about that and tell us like all the amazing things that is come from it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I was actually the founder of another sports company, Teammates, which was a startup. It was a golf app that I created during COVID. I mean, I was sitting there with like 2 toddlers running circles around me. The world was shut down. And I was like, let's make a golf app.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
A lot of us got creative.
And surprisingly, it did really well. It had over like 100,000 downloads pretty fast. And we put on these golf events. We started Gals in Golf and just brought like the community together. Struggled to get funding for it because it needed to be like high levels of critical mass on the app for it to actually work. So a founder in the ecosystem came up to me one day and he's like, why are you doing this when you should just be focused on women? And I was like, tell me more.
Yeah.
And then, he kind of like relayed like what he thought about it. And I was like, that makes so much more sense for me. Right. It just seems like a natural progression into this. I had met some incredible golf influencers and professional golfer women during that time. And I was always listening to them. Like, what do you need? What do you feel? And again, it went back to the same thing. I'm lonely. I need mentors. I need resources. I need to find more ways to generate revenue and, build my wealth. And so I was just like, this is my sweet spot. This is what I know. I know both the sectors really well. I know people in them. And so I just started it like that. That week I was like, hey, friend, Olympic athlete, come over here. And then, hey, news anchor that I know, come over here. And they helped me build it from the beginning. And I made them gave them some equity in the company. And I was like, pull in some of your friends. Let's create this space. So we just started doing it with like some speaker sessions. We'd bring in like financial experts and brand experts. And then we would do like online community pods, and it started to build and build. We started doing live events, which we now have live events every single month.
And you've only started like how long ago?
18 months ago we launched.
And it seems like you've been doing it forever. Because we went, well, we went to your event last year.
Yeah. Well, from the outside looking in.
Yeah. Outside looking in,
I'm sure you've got a lot of chaos in the background.
Oh, for sure.
Because who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yes. But it just makes sense, and when you're doing what you're supposed to do because it just kind of aligns.
Yes.
And it works out.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get here, but it's going to work out some kind of way.
Exactly.
And then you just know because you're supposed to be here.
You just know. And when the members started organically coming to us, like, an Olympian would message and be like, can I join this? And I'd be like, okay, this has to be the right thing if they're messaging and asking for it. And I love it. I work 18 hours a day, basically 7 days a week. And I'm a single mom with 2 kids. So you'd think most of the time you'd be like, I want to give up. But I don't, because I love it. And because I know the impact is happening. And like seeing these women, like, and this is a perfect example. Our member Rhonda, she's like the best racquetball player in the world. She has been for like 20 years.
Shoot, Rhonda, let's go.
Rhonda is just
my dad used to drag me to play racquetball.
I love her. But every time she comes to all the events, she'll fly and come to the events. And she's like, this is everything I need. She calls us the flock because like osprey is a bird. But she's like, this group of women is everything I need.
Yeah.
And so we create these opportunities for them. They're on panels at our events. We have them speak. We had our member Megan interview A-Rod the other day at like one of the events we partnered on. So we kind of like create all these cool opportunities. And then
I'll do Derek Jeter.
I'll keep you down.
She has him as a screensaver.
I'm like, no, I don't, but I will. No, but that's awesome. That's amazing. And those are the things that I think I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. This is a great thing. And then when we went to the retreat, the retreat was something, it was just different.
Yeah.
And it was like perfect.
She came back talking all about it.
Yeah.
She's you've got to meet them.
I love how it was just something different because you do, like one of the things, like I told you when I had a women's group, you tend to want to do different things because there's so many of them. There's room for all of them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you don't want to go to the different ones and do the same thing over and over again because you don't stay. You don't stick, right? So you got to be creative and you got to think about how do I entertain these ladies for the next one? How do I, and it does get exhausting.
Yeah.
It really does because you're like, maybe they won't like it this time and maybe they won't come back or whatever. But with sports, how can you not?
Yeah.
Like it just
so
makes sense. I mean, DJ.
There was a woman DJ. Yeah. There was a woman DJ.
Yeah.
That one time, I don't remember her name, but everything, just the environment. Yeah. Lexia. Yeah. In the environment and the networking, we met, an Olympian and we took a picture with her medal, like stuff Laura, like that, even though I'm not a sports person, that's her forte, but
like
I enjoyed it, but I'm just telling her,
mom now, so
that's true.
Act like it. No,
I know, right? That's right. Yeah. But I loved it. Like even not being in sports, I loved the event. It feels like it was for everyone.
Yes. So like the point is to bring in the local community of women to connect with the members and be inspired and like learn a new sport. So like at Birdies and Bubbles, which we have next week, We bring our members in, they teach golf, they talk on a panel, then all the community gets to like learn how to play golf in a group setting, which is like low pressure.
Yeah.
Obviously there's champagne.
Makes it easier.
And we like to make them multi-sensory. So we have like the yoga lawn, and then we have our DJ, and then we have our brand partners come in and do like samples of what they're doing. Because I think people really underestimate women, and they're like, oh, we can just put y'all in a room and you will connect with you. And it's like, right, but we want to experience things.
Yeah.
Like we want to try new things. We want to learn how to play football. We want to learn how to play golf. We want to talk to people that do completely different things than us.
Especially coming from like, you were told you're supposed to be a wife, you're supposed to be a mother, and you're supposed to find your place. Yes. And some people go through that and never found themselves.
No.
And then here you are in your 40s and you're like, well, who am I? Like the kids are growing up. I feel like I never got to find who I am. And maybe you get into sports later in life.
Yeah.
And that's something that people don't realize is because you weren't in sports when you were younger, maybe you didn't think you were athletic. Maybe your parents didn't let you play sports. You can do this at any age. Now, maybe your body might
That's
not
what
be
I just said.
physically ready, but that's okay because
Yeah.
you can get there. Like you can do, but things aren't, it's not like you're playing professional.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just encourage women to try things that are not maybe outside of their comfort zone,
Yes.
or they would think that maybe it's not for them because they never did it before. I find your community, things like this, because you'd be surprised. And then it releases so much stress.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing, I think.
So much, so much. Our event we do at the Super Bowl with our member, Dr. Jen Welter. She was the first female NFL coach, and she puts on this incredible event, A Day in the Life, where women come and learn how to play tackle football, and we get all the NFL
And I saw that.
players.
That's
I saw that. I
fun.
want to do that.
We have the NFL players come and coach and like empower and whatnot and get behind it. And women are crying at the end of that, at the end of the day, because they're like learning to tackle and they're letting out all this stuff, and there's music playing and there's community. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Women need women.
Yes.
And I think like that's what they used to do. Used to live on farms
Yes.
together and like support each other
Yep.
and help. And then all of a sudden we all went our separate ways, and we've got to bring that back, because when we come together, it's so powerful.
And they have the guidance. Like you said, you didn't have that. And whenever you have that community to tell you, hey, this is, if you want to do, flag football or whatever, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times women don't know, they want to get into sport, but they have absolutely no idea where to start.
Yeah.
Is there a women's group that does this?
Right.
Because I didn't
and
even know
some
that they had
and
it.
some women just need the encouragement. Like
Yeah.
it really is that. And I think that like when me and Jen met, she probably would have thought sports, hell no.
I know.
But I was
She
like,
did some
no.
events.
I mean, we
did
hosted certain,
pickleball.
you start slow.
Yeah.
You start with certain
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
and you get into it. And then you learn
Yeah.
like, you start to feel better about how you feel when you play
Yeah.
or just the way it makes your body, it changes your body shape.
Yeah.
Everything. And I think that's just encouraging. But just first of all, for someone to say, come join us.
Yeah.
Like, come join us.
Come
You're
and be a
welcome.
part of it.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Yes.
And that is huge because a lot of women are shy and they're in their shell and they're waiting for someone just to say, hey, come join us,
Yeah.
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 And like I said, that is one of the things that I love is that you walk into a community or, a women's group and you feel welcomed.
Yeah.
Because not all of them feel welcoming.
Yeah.
So if they want to become a member, like how would they do it?
Yeah. So you can
Oh, wait. That's a funny
Oh,
topic.
yeah.
So like I said, I met you last year.
Yeah.
And then I said, I love this. I'm going to go and I'm going to try to be a member. I'm going to find out what I need to do. So I
Yeah.
sent my stuff in and I never got a response.
I know.
So I thought, and I was
Nushin
like,
texted
well,
me last
damn, I
night.
guess I'm not,
I'm not exclusive
I
enough.
guess it's not my community. I don't know what happened. So we talked about that today when you got here. And apparently I did get it. I just
Yeah.
didn't see it.
I know.
So I am.
I know.
Like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
You were straight in. You were
Gosh.
straight in. I was like, I know her. And then you came to our retreat,
Yeah.
which was great. It was such a wonderful group of women. So you can just apply online on joinosprey.com.
But you vet. You obviously do a little vetting.
We vet more in terms of like we can't have divas and non-collaborative people in the community. It's all about collaboration, support, and lifting each other up.
Right.
So we do have like onboarding interviews just because it's not just about you. It's about everyone.
Right.
And
It's a
creating
team,
an
baby.
impact.
I know.
Yes, it's a team. Creating impact globally, working together at events, How can you help this person? On our sessions monthly, everyone does an ask and someone has to answer. So it's like, I need this month. And within the group, someone will have an answer and they connect that person.
That's amazing.
And make it happen.
Yes.
And I think that that's the way forward. You have to, people that try and go off on their own, I'm like, good luck.
Yes.
I'm like, who else wants to come and partner and join and collaborate?
And I need this kind of stuff for like when the world ends or an apocalypse or something like that. I need these strong women. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm on the move.
You need somebody to tackle.
If you're someone that
tackle those zombies.
Do we got canoes? Do we got someone who can build
For
stuff?
real.
Like,
I know how to forage.
Yes, there you go. Like who can cook? Like we need all of this. I'm not here waiting around and being by myself. We're gonna build a community.
Yeah, and that's great because it's not only just a brand; it's like a movement.
Yes,
definitely.
And that's our main focus is like impact globally for women, and not just in the sectors of sport and entertainment, but everywhere for everything because women get treated unfairly still.
Yes,
pretty much every single sector.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
I know women in oil and gas that don't get a word in that boardroom still to this day.
Oh yeah.
And I think that like, if we can take an influential group with big followings like sports and entertainment and they can lead the push, that's what we need to make a global impact.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. And I think that is the best way to end on this. But I do want to know, you did say a little bit, but what's coming up?
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of events, activations in women's football at the F1. We're doing some more stuff in STEM with SpaceX. And then we are also expanding globally. So we'll be starting in the Middle East and Europe and Region 2.
Exciting.
We have a Kilimanjaro summit that we're starting to film in the next couple months with the training. And then you're following 20 members up to the summit.
Okay.
That's going to be a docuseries. So there's a
That's
lot
gonna
of
be
really
fun,
cool things coming. We just launched.
And I think we need to add some volleyball in
Yeah.
there. Oh, I think we're
100%.
going to collab.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
I think we need to do that for some kind of event.
And volleyball is taking off right now.
And I have a gym.
And you've
so
been crushing
perfect.
it. You
Exactly.
crush it.
So
Both of you.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. And I'm excited about this because like I said, I was waiting for my phone to ring and someone to call me. But now that I know I'm in.
Well, now I know I need to send follow-ups.
Yes.
Like, check your spam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It might not have been in my spam. I'm just overloaded.
She has like 1,000
but I do.
unread
I
messages.
And I always forget which email I use. I don't know if y'all do that, but I have a couple and I'm
same.
like, which email did I put
Yeah.
in?
There's some AI filters now that are really great.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
share
I'll
them
have
with
to,
you.
yes,
Yeah.
please. We need anything that makes our life easier.
Yes.
So Lydia, thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we're so
I
happy.
loved having
This
you.
is amazing. Thank you.
Cheers
for
to
having us.
Cheers.
Osprey.
Cheers.
Cheers to collaboration.
Cheers.
And cheers to the ladies.
Cheers.
Cheers, ladies.
See you next time, guys.